This is Summer School Video Unit 1E, Order of Operations. So for order of operations, majority of you should be familiar with the expressions PEMDAS or PERMDAS, which is parentheses, exponents, radicals, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction, which reminds you the order that we do operations in. So that first one is the groups, parentheses, brackets, parts of fractions. So the parts of fractions mean if you have addition in the numerator, you do that before you do the division indicated by a fraction bar. Your second step is exponents, radicals, absolute values. Third step is division and multiplication. And then fourth step is subtraction and addition. And division and multiplication go in order from left to right. So does subtraction and addition. It doesn't go division, then multiplication, or multiplication, then division. It's left to right. So, for our examples, find the following without a calculator. So do your best to not use a calculator. Okay, you should be able to do a majority of these without using a calculator. So, number one, we have 12 minus 4 plus 6. We just have that subtraction and addition, so we go in order from left to right. We do 12 minus 4, which is 8, and then we do 8 plus 6, which is 14. On all of these problems, I want you to show your work. You will have to show your work on your test, and you'll have to show your work in the practice problems. So make sure you're showing your work that you're doing this without a calculator. 4 times 3 squared. This 3 squared is your exponent. You have to do exponents first. 3 squared means 3 times 3, which is 9. And then we carry down that times 4. 4 times 9 is 36. So our answer is 36. 9 minus 3 times 2, example 3. 9 minus 3 times 2. We do the multiplication first. We get 3 times 2, which is 6. Carry down the minus and the 9. 9 minus 6 is 3. So our final answer is 3. Next page, we have 12 times the square root of 16. Now the square root of 16 might not be as familiar with, but what number times itself would give us 16? Square root of 16 is 4. Now, if you don't know a square root or something like that off the top of your head, it is okay to pull up your calculator and say, okay, let's figure out what the square root of 16. Now, that's 4. You're allowed to do that, but to type in the whole expression 12 times the square root of 16 is not okay. All right, so boundaries with our calculator. To get the square root button, I'll go over that. You have to press this blue button, and then you press the x squared button, because you can see that the square root button is like right above the x squared button. So then that gives you your square root. And you will be needing that, so make sure you follow along and know how to use that. Now we have 12 times 4, which is 48. So our final answer here would be 48. For example number 5, these absolute value bars act like parentheses, so we do what's inside these absolute value bars first. So we're going to carry down the absolute value bars and then do 7 minus 5, which is 2. Absolute value of 2 is just 2. Remember, those absolute value bars just make anything inside of them positive, so this is going to be positive 2. Number 6, we have operations in our numerator and our denominator. So we are going to do the operations first. So I'm going to write that fraction bar down. We're going to do 7 plus 5, which is 12. And then we're going to do the operation in the denominator, which is 6 minus 4, which is 2. A fraction bar actually means to divide. So we're really doing 12 divided by 2, which is equal to 6. So our final answer is 6. Number 7, 3 plus 6 squared divided by 4. So first off, we have to do the exponents, which is 6 squared. So we're going to start with that. So we have 3 plus 6 squared, which is 36, divided by 4. We have to do the division before we do the addition. PEMDAS, division becomes before addition. So we're going to do the 36 divided by 4 first, which is 9. So now we have 3 plus 9. 3 plus 9 equals 12. So our final answer is 12. Number 8, we have lots of brackets and parentheses going on, so we start with the innermost parentheses, which is going to be 8 minus 2 and 5 minus 1. So we're going to keep this 2 on the outside, keep the big parentheses. 8 minus 2 is 6. Carry down the minus sign in the middle. 5 minus 1 is 4. Now we can do this set of parentheses right here, the 6 minus 4. 6 minus 4 is 2, so now we have 2 parentheses 2. Parentheses next to a number means multiplication, so we're really doing 2 times 2, which is 4. (12 minus 3 times negative 5). Okay, so this is negative 3 times negative 5. I'm going to bring down the 12. Negative 3 times negative 5, that's a double negative. So negative times a negative, which makes a positive. So I'm going to put down a positive sign. And then 3 times 5 is 15. So 12 plus 15 is what we have left, which makes 427. All right, if you're struggling with the operations, you can feel free to check it in your calculator. So if I wanted to go, hey, let's see if I did this right, we can put into our calculator 12 minus 3, and then in parentheses, negative 5. Hit enter. Make sure I got it right, 27. But see, I did it all in my head first, and I just checked it to make sure I had the right answer. All right, you can feel free to check your answers, but make sure you're showing me your work, showing me that you know how to use the order of operations. All right, last little section. We have example number 10, 2 times negative 3 squared plus 4 times negative 3 minus 5. So first off, we do exponents. So we're going to take care of this negative 3 squared. Negative 3 times negative 3 is going to be positive 9. We're going to put that in parentheses next to the 2. Plus 4, and we can do what's inside this parenthesis. We can do negative 3 minus 5, which is negative 8. Okay? Now, again, if you're struggling with those rules, or you forget, or you just want to make sure, we can always type into the calculator negative 3 minus 5, that's negative 8. I got it right. We're good to go. Now we can do our multiplication, because that comes before addition. So we're going to do 2 times 9, which is 18. And then bring down the plus sign. 4 times negative 8. Positive times a negative is a negative. 4 times 8 is 32. And then we can add those two together. 18 plus negative 32. The bigger number is negative 32. So our answer is going to be negative. Subtract the two numbers. 32 minus 18 is 14. So we get negative 14 for our answer. Again, if we want, we can definitely check it in our calculator. We can do 18 plus negative 32, which is negative 14. We got it right. Next example, we have 11, the square root of 3 times 5 plus 10, and then minus 7 outside of the square root. So we got to do that 3 times 5 first, which is 15, plus 10 underneath that square root. And then minus 7 is outside the square root. 15 plus 10 is 25, so we're going to do the square root of 25, and then minus 7 outside the square root. The square root of 25 is 5. If you don't know that, that's okay to look up in your calculator. That's all right. So we have 5 minus 7. 5 minus 7 is going to be negative 2. Number 12, we have absolute value of 3 minus 17 over 2 plus 5 plus 4. So we're going to do what's inside these absolute value bars first. 3 minus 17, it's going to be negative 14. Over, we can do 2 plus 5, which is 7, and then add the plus 4 over here. Absolute value of negative 14. Those absolute value bars make what's inside positive, so the negative 14 becomes positive 14. So we have 14 over 7 plus 4. Now remember, the fraction bar means we're dividing, which we do before the addition. So we can do 14 divided by 7, which is 2. And then we add 4 to that, and 2 plus 4 is equal to 6. All right, we've got one last example here, guys. I know this is kind of a lot, but we're going to make it through. Last one. Now, for this one, and only this one, I'm giving you special privileges to use your calculator because I do want to show you how to type this all into the calculator. So, only this problem. And anything that looks just like this problem, you may use your calculator on. That's it. And if you have questions on that, let me know, because otherwise I expect to see lots of work on your paper. All right, so first off, we need to put in the fraction bar. So we're going to put the fraction in. Then we're going to type in the whole numerator. So we have -3 minus, put in the square root, so the blue button, then the x squared button. Then we put in 3 squared minus 4 in parentheses 2 and in parentheses 1. It should look exactly like it. If it doesn't look exactly like the paper, you're doing it wrong. Then we go down to the denominator. We do 2, and then in parentheses, another 2. Oop, missed a parenthesis there. There we go. Press enter, and it gives you our answer of -1. And again, I will reiterate, that is the only type of problem you are allowed to use your calculator on. All right, that's all the notes I have for you. Thank you for watching, and please stop and do your practice 1E.